want you poolside. You've been on my mind. Wonder if you won't mind. Let's do.
Hello my darlings, welcome back to my channel. My name is Tenny Bakari, and in today's video I'm going to be showing you guys my everyday soft glam makeup tutorial. I'm going to be taking you guys through all my essential steps to make sure you have a great base, long lasting makeup, and make sure your makeup is the ultimate soft glam look. And let's get right in. First off, I start off with my Bobbi Brown vitamin rich face base. By the way, everything that I'm using will be linked down below in the description box. So I start off with moisturizing because it's winter now and you want to make sure that you have a great base prep already. So I go in with my moisturizer and just make sure that everything is well prepped. This is a very hydrating for my dry skin girlies. This is very hydrating and it helps make sure that it helps to make sure that your makeup stays on all day. The vitamin rich face base is really good for that. And next up I go in with my Fenty soft matte primer and I'll just do 2 pumps of this on both sides, just again to make sure that my base is really hydrated, because if you don't hydrate your skin very well, your base is already capped at 40 essentially, and it's not going to look good. Your makeup is going to be very, very cakey and probably won't last. For my final step for my base prep, I go in with my Charlotte Tilbury Airbrush Flawless Finish Spray and I just spray like 2 pumps of that. I sprayed 3, but actually just to make sure that it covers everywhere on my face. Yeah, let me just rub that in properly. After then, I'm going to just go in with my Urban Decay Brow Blade. I believe this is in, I'll link the shades for everything, or yes, the shades for I'll link the shades for everything down below, just to make sure that you guys get the correct shade. But I go in with this very, very light strokes as well, and I just go in and fill in spots because it's very pigmented. So I go in with very light strokes, as you can see. Nothing crazy, because I want that feathery look. Nothing crazy. Still trying to maintain and extend my brow while still filling in lightly in the front, and then just making sure that it has that sparse look. As you can see, when I go in here doing the same thing from the end, taking it and then filling it in lightly. You want to make sure that you're very light-handed with this so that it doesn't give you like block brows. Yeah. Feathery look, essentially. And yeah, I don't use too much of them because I feel like I want to go in. Again, I can always go back and like try my very hardest to be very light-handed with brows, because I know that I will still come back and conceal them afterwards. So for concealing my brows, I'm going to be using my Too Faced concealer in the shade Chestnut. And I'm just going to go in gently underneath my brow. Yeah. And I'm going to take my favorite flat brush. Most of my brushes are Real Techniques. If you could be linking them, just so that you guys are able to go find the exact ones that I'm using. This is a set from Real Techniques. So what I will be doing is I will just be going underneath the brow, carving out for the shape and cutting at the end there. Essentially giving that carved look. Yep, and then the same happens here, but I might just extend it forward, and yeah, oh yeah, yeah, perfect. So there we go, and that is just for my eyebrows, just to make sure that they're well concealed. And after then, I will just take a beauty blender and begin to go in to the areas that have concealer so that everything blends in perfectly, and it's a great way to start.
Nobody else true. Nobody else made this move. Nobody else had a clue what I could do, what I could do. The right amount of love, right amount of trust, right amount of dick. I don't wanna slap me up and I think I don't wanna fit. I don't wanna
After that, I'll go in with my foundation. This is the L'Oreal True Match in the shade N.5D stroke N/N.5W. And then I would take 2 pumps of that. This is a very high coverage because you don't probably need 2 pumps depending on what you're doing. And I don't like to put too much concealer on my forehead. Yeah, it's very full coverage. This is the Morphe M439 brush. This is my favorite foundation brush. So for foundation, I always advise that you tap, not rub. So when you're going in, make sure that you pat in your foundation, that you're patting it in, and you're making sure it spreads evenly everywhere. As you can see, that is a seamless blend. It's very full coverage, so hence why I didn't put too much on my forehead, because I didn't want to have it be too much. With a lot of foundations, I might go in afterwards, but let's just finish with the hands back. I'm just ensuring that everything is well blended. If you feel as though you've gone overboard, like I feel like I have with my foundation, I'm going to go in with my beauty blender and just dab it all over, sit in gently around those areas, and then you make sure that it soaks it up so it's not as heavy. Next up is concealer, and I'm going to be going in with the Too Faced multi sculpting concealer that we used earlier for my brows, but instead we're going to be doing placements underneath. I Yeah, 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 and yeah. If you guys see me looking down, it's because I'm looking at the mirror in front of me, just to make sure that everything looks alright. Yep. Now, the trick with concealer is to let it dry down. I typically let my concealer dry down and get tacky for like 3 minutes on average, just to make sure that when I'm eventually blending, it stays in place and it doesn't move around, because you want your concealer to stay where you've put it. You don't want it to move around. So I will time 3 minutes and let it sit. So I'm going to take a flat brush that I can use to blend out my concealer. I don't blend out my concealer with a beauty blender because I feel as though it's more of a flawless finish when I use a brush as opposed to a beauty blender. Yep. As you guys can see, it's not moving around, it's staying in place, as opposed to when you just go in immediately and you don't let it dry down. And don't be afraid to take your time blending because you want to make sure that everything is flawless. Don't be scared about taking your time to blend and just making sure that everything looks perfect. Concealer underneath on your eyelids and underneath your brows, just to make sure that that area is blended as well. Make sure you go back in with your foundation brush and you go into all the corners that may have harsh lines. So like here, just at the end of your brows where you've added new concealer, go in and see that everything is seamlessly blended. That way you don't have any harsh lines going into the next stage of your makeup. So just make sure that everything is well blended. The key is to blend as much as possible to make sure that everything looks flawless and seamless. And then the next stage, I'm going to be going in with another Too Faced concealer, which is in this shade Butterscotch. So just because I like that bright under eye effect, I go in with just a little here. Nothing too much, depending on how much brightness you like. I don't like too much, but this is just enough for me. I let this dry down for another 3 minutes and then I go in to blend. So after letting it dry for about 3 minutes, then I'll go in and blend again the same way we did earlier. The next step is contour. Now, I'm very picky about how intense my contour is. I'm going to be using this foundation stick from Revolution. So, there we go. Just these are my contour placements. Now, I know we look a bit crazy, but please stay with me. You'll see in just a second. And I always do this rule of my creams before my powders. So we're going to blend this in and then we'll go in with setting spray. So yeah, again, you're dabbing, you're not rubbing. Contour on the lip is because it gives that plump lip effect. As you guys can see, my lips look slightly plumping, and if that's your thing, you can contour there. But if not, you don't have to do that. It's just to give that effect. It just gives you plumper looking lips. So go in. And now, after doing that, I'll take one last pass with my foundation brush. After doing that, I'll go in with my foundation brush one more time and again blend those harsh lines. Not that we've added some contour, it's going to make sure that there are harsh lines, so you need to go back in and make sure that there are none in between any of your finishes. After doing that, when I'm done with all of my liquids that we've just done, I will go in with my airbrush setting spray from Charlotte Tilbury and set all of my liquids. So then for our next step, I'm going to go in with the Huda Beauty Easy Bake in the shade Banana Bread and begin to set all the areas where I put my concealer. And this is one of my favorite setting powders because it really does complement the bright under eye look there, and this is one of my faves. So I just go in gently. Don't be afraid. If it's a lot, you can still dust it off. So you're just going to pat that in to where you have your concealer. And then, yeah. I do this with a fluffy brush because I feel as though it gives a more flawless finish. And then I also take some bits of it and go underneath right where I've contoured just to have that flawless look underneath there as well. And then here, then on my forehead, just right there. I'm going with my eyelids as well, just to set everywhere that we've put concealer. I can even set my brows. You don't have to set your brows if you don't want to. I just personally like it because it gives that airbrush finish. For bronzer, I'm going to be going in with the Fenty Beauty bronzer in the shade Mocha Mami. And this has been a go-to staple for bronzer for me for some time now. I don't think there's anything else that I've preferred using on the market, but it's really good and it brings back all the warmth back into your face. So I'm just going to go in with this. And then I go in with my fluffy brush again and just make sure that the finishing touches to everything. It's generally very seamless and it looks really nice. Now for blush, I'm going to be using the Patrick Ta blush in the shade She's Giving. Now I have a trick for you guys when it comes to blush. You're going to first go in with the powdered blush because these are two. This is the cream, this is the powder. So I'm going to go in on my cheekbones and then just go in with the powder first. Just to the point where it's apparent that there's blush on your face. And then you're going to go in with a beauty blender and gently tap into the cream section and then dab lightly on where you've put your powder. It gives for a much more lasting blush look, one, and it also makes your blush pop even more. And I know on camera it's not really looking as good as it does in person, but trust me, try this trick. It's so good for making your blush last longer. Go in with the powder first and then go in with the cream and you will see such a difference in how your blush looks. I personally like a lot of blush. I'm maybe heavy-handed with blush, but not too much to the extent where there's blush blindness, if that makes sense. And for finishing touches, I'm going to go in again with my Mocha Mami from earlier and then just make sure that I add some bronzer just to add color to my eyes because I'm not putting on eyeshadow today, so I'm going to just be going with bronzer just to bring back some color to that area. You can just use your bronzer as eyeshadow and it can still pass because it brings back a lot of color into your eyes and it looks like you made a lot more effort when you really didn't. So yeah, I'm going to do my lashes and I'll be back. Lashes are all done and I want to get into my lip combo for you guys. This is the Rimmel London Lasting Finish Lip Liner and I will put down the link for this down below, but any other plain old like brown lip liner is fine. And then I just go in with this. And then I go in with my Huda Beauty lipstick in the shade Board Meeting. And then let's go in like this. To make it sure that it is a seamless blend, I will just take a brush and pat it in here to keep that effect of the lipstick and the liner blend there. And you could always leave it like this, but I'm a gloss babe at the core of my heart, So I just taken any other plain clear lip gloss. This is an old lip gloss. I can't remember where this is from. And then I just go in like this. This is the final look, and then just then I will go in my setting spray. And there we go. I hope you guys enjoyed watching this makeup tutorial. I hope it was helpful. I hope it was insightful, and I hope you guys learned new tips and tricks to make your base long lasting and come out seamless and wonderful like this. Make sure to leave any questions you have down below. Everything will be linked in the description box for you to be able to directly find. And yeah, I hope to see you in my next video. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you next time.
Get behind me, warrior. Diamond boy, your light so blinding, blinding. Baby, if it's all they tell me, am I saying too much? And baby, if it's all they tell me, am I saying too much?